Well, today we witnessed a funeral procession, dead men walking down the gallows on the way to their eventual fate that we knew and they knew that they would eventually suffer. But man, it was painful, very painful to watch. What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back at you with another analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. And we're gonna surmise today's playoff death of the Philadelphia Eagles, at least the 2023-2024 version. They suffered a handsome defeat at the hands of the Buccaneers, who were not a powerhouse, yet they managed to oust them 32-9 in Raymond James Stadium. Had some cousins that actually went to the game. I'm like, why did you go to this tragic murder? To bear witness? I guess, but I appreciate that you're fans, but why subject yourself to that? I did it for the money. Anyways, man, this one, despite it being close at one point in the second quarter, wasn't even close. The fact that those are the only points that the Eagles scored underscores the ineptness of this game. But there were some guys that came out to fight, and we saw a couple of them. I'll highlight some of them later when we go over the stats, but this was a slaughter. Raymond James Stadium, aka the new Bucks killing house, is the new slaughterhouse. Anyways, the Bucks came out furious, and they were just beating the crap out of us. You know, we deferred. They were down on the first drive and scored a field goal. We held them to a field goal, but it just felt hopeless. I'm like, we came out and we didn't go 3 and out, but we came and ran the ball early in our efforts. And you think, oh, they're gonna change over a new leaf. Nope, wrong. Like, if you thought this team was just gonna up and get into the playoffs and change their modus operandus, no. She shouldn't even have had a guy out there on the sidelines with his play calling sheet. I'm not gonna say which one, but maybe you can guess. But yeah, it was just ridiculous. We have success against this pretty tough running defense, and we go away from it immediately. I think it was 15 total carries for running backs. No, not trying to get Jalen to the edges on, RPO runs and using his athleticism. Worried about it. Like, look, we're already fighting an uphill battle because we shouldn't even be here based on the way we played in the last 6 games. We were the worst team in the league, and looked like we should have been the one with the Panthers record. At least they put up 9 points on the on the Bucks, same as we did. I mean, no, they didn't. Sorry, they got 9 points more on them, but at least they were stout in defense, holding them to only field goals. We got a whole new hole blown in us. But yeah, the Bucks just kept on, scoring. It took Herculean efforts, and it shouldn't do that. It was individual talent. Let's be honest. With Smitty keeping us in the game, Hurts getting him the ball, of course. O-line buying time, but I don't think they played poorly despite Hurts being pressured. There was nowhere to go downfield for him. So I love the armchair quarterbacks, especially people coming from other places to hate specifically on the Eagles. Hey man, hate just another kind of love, and we're living rent free in your mind. Losers hate on winners. But yeah, it was just interesting to see that it was only him going out there and making individual plays, and he couldn't. I mean, he can't carry the whole thing by himself. Had great numbers, but we're not assisting Hurts in scheming up plays that actually makes sense. And you gotta believe that's Nick Sirianni's offense, even though it's quite offensive, pun intended. But I guess let's look at the stats. Like, Baker Mayfield, 22 of 36, 337, 3 TDs, and we did sack him maybe a handful of times. I want to say less than 4, probably around 2 or 3, but didn't really matter. Didn't really pressure him because the defense we were playing in. Didn't really goad him into making mistakes, and not ones that we could make people pay with. We don't have, it was so ironic, funny. Zach Cunningham got his hand on 2 balls. One, it would have been a Herculean effort, but a great linebacker goes out there and makes that a catch. At least one of the pass covering variety. Let's say, like, I keep using these 2, but Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith probably make that pick, man. Just great coverage guys. And just all around great, overall great talents. And he dropped it. I mean, of course, he deflected it more. But there was one that hit him right in the hands, and, like, he should have had it. If you have your ass covered, if you're Howie Roseman, and have just one coverage guy on the team, we were able to claw our way, trying to at least, back into this game. But we don't have those guys. Playing Avonte Maddox out of position. I mean, he was admirable, for him being willing to do it, even though he's not a pro level safety. But, just his number was called, the read blank shit was out, and, we had to do what we had to do. Yeah, I mean, in the Bucs, they, we with tight coverage. I mean, that's a funny thing. At least with tight coverage, like, the game, we allowed the game to be closer. And why we couldn't do that the whole time, like, these receivers aren't anything to be respected as far as, like, not this game, but the Giants receivers, and they don't really scare you. Jalen Hyatt, sure, okay, maybe, but everybody else, no. And we respect them too much, give them too much credit. But Rachaad White, 18 for 72. Most of that he kind of got going late. He has a couple runs, yeah, sure, but the ground game wasn't really what killed us. You look at everybody else. Baker Mayfield, he kind of broke our backs on one scramble. Well, both scrambles, I think, went for first down, even though he only had 16 yards with an 8-yard average. Timely. But he was out there on a gimpy ankle. His ankle got stepped on by his left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. He still got it out, rib injury, and even though we sacked him, kept coming back. Look at the numbers. Nobody really else. I mean, Devin Tompkins, all 155 pounds of him breaking tackle. You're like, just an endemic of this inept defense. We'll get to that later. We'll get to our players. But Trey Palmer, man, his one catch for 56 yards, just bad, missed tackle by Bradbury. And I think they said he was actually benched later. Makes sense. I mean, just like, when you don't have confidence and you don't believe in the plan and you lose trust mentally to some degree, it doesn't matter if it's a great amount or a small amount, you check out. If that continues going on for weeks upon weeks, you're going to be done. It's like dulling your sword and then expecting it, to be sharp and going into battle. You're not going to be ready. It's going to take so many hacks at it that the enemy's going to take you down before you can even begin to make a difference. Cade Otton, we had no answer for him, 8 for 89. He was their main guy on 11 targets. I mean, he's a sneaky good guy, but shouldn't be allowed to have that much. David Moore, just like another busted, touchdown. I forget who it was, but they got, Ray Lewis pointed out excellently. They're tackling like individuals. They're playing like individuals. And it's not for stats or anything like that, but just the lack of trust that the next man's going to bring the guy down. So you go in there and tackle recklessly, and he ends up escaping out because you knocked him out of the grasp of the other guy. We don't trust each other because we don't trust the plan. And we don't trust the people giving us, the plan. Because we don't trust the people above them who are giving them order. Like, it's such a mess. Mike Evans actually, several drops. 3 for 48, held him in check. If we would have told you that they would have had these numbers combined, you would have been like, we had a fighting chance. Just couldn't get out of off the field in sync. Their time of possession had to be crazy. I know they dominated the game in that because we couldn't stay on the field as an offense either. And we were 0 of 5 at one point. I think maybe going into the third quarter, maybe even into the fourth on third down. Ineptitude. then Julio Jones goes out, and we're not able to compensate because we don't have a receiver on the roster to fill that physical space. I mean, but like AJ Brown is irreplaceable, and then you have the replacement, he goes down, and he's not even a full-fledged replacement because he's a shell of the guy that he once was. And no shade to him, but he's 34, and he's not the driving force behind the offense anymore. Just plain simple. Defense, I mean, it's not really anything that they did, man. They brought pressure, no picks, but 1, 2, 3. They only had 3 sacks, but it was the pressures. Like Hurts had a record 13 pressures under 2 seconds or under, and it wasn't because of the O-line. It's because of the protections. The O-line was doing their job, but when you're outmanned, you're outmanned. When you're outgunned, you're outgunned. If they're bringing 8, 9 on the average 5, 6, 7. There's somebody unaccounted for. You need to be. I mean, there was a damning clip that they showed, footage or picture, where they're bringing blitzers here, the widest swath of the middle of the field was open, and no receivers going into that area. Locked up over here, locked over here, locked over here. Nobody crossing. Just that's your offense, Nick Sirianni. And you're seriously trotting those guys out there trying to say we have a winning game plan. Get the fuck out of here, man. So it was not about really the Bucs D. It was about our lack of ineptitude, our lack of will to do it, not will. Jalen Hurts, decent numbers, 250, touchdown. Dr. Swift, 10 for 34, didn't get enough carries. Gainwell, 4. This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, I have no words because we still had some nice runs, but we went away from it way too early. Even when we were in the game, we went away from the run. When it was 16-9, we were passing, and then not scoring. We scored on a touchdown and a field goal. Devonta Smith came to play today. 8 receptions for 148 yards. Some of those garbage time, obviously about 20 yards or so, but he had 4 for $111 at halftime. He was trying. Everything in his power, but he's only one man. I would dare to say maybe if AJ was out there, we might have won this game, but would have gone on to get slaughtered the next week. So better a mercy kill than prolonging the inevitable. And that's just me being honest. I was hoping, I'll get to that in the post-game, but post-game comments about this game. Yeah, Dr. Swift, nice factor in the passing game. Some of this is garbage time. Julio Jones was decent. I think he actually got a concussion. Dropped the ball, fumbled, but he got possession of it, never wavered. Tough ass dude. He won't be back, but yeah. Dallas Goedert. Yeah. He wasn't even really given an opportunity, man. 4 for 21, TD. Our favorite play, him leaking out. Works every time, but cool. Quez Watkins wasn't a factor. Didn't expect him to be a factor. Won't be back. Kenneth Gainwell, only back we have under contract. Decent guy, man. But for me, he's a number 2. Olamide Zaccheaus. What he showed in Atlanta, we didn't give him a fifth of those routes to run, so I believe he has the talent. It's us, not him. Britton Covey, lost fumble, recovered, so cool. He also did, but cool. Defense. This just is wholesale. I saw some decent coverage. Slay got caught on. Bradbury was bad. Roby, out there throwing, shoulders and stuff. As well as, Vontae Maddox not tackling well. But the guys weren't playing good as a unit. Milton Williams had a sack. Brandon Graham had a sack. Josh Sweat had a sack. Nolan Smith and Fletcher Cox shared one. It was a nice one, but none of that mattered because we were out of sync. I think maybe even Hassan Reddick got benched at one point. Because when it's that bad, when it seeps into your pores, disbelief, loss of faith, and lack of trust, mistrust. That's when mistrust, seeps into the building, and it just sours everything, positive, sapped. So, just as an entire defense, they just stunk. Yeah, fruitless endeavor. Like I said, at least J.K. Late made his. Britton Covey didn't have a return because when he was going to return, he fumbled, but then they didn't really give him space. So shout out to the Bucs special teams. Brady Mann was punting, so maybe he'll be our punter next year. But on to the post game. I'm glad that we were this bad because I'm hoping that there's going to be some changes in that building. Structurally, we need to analyze how we've been operating. Our philosophy needs to change. What we're looking for on defense and offense needs to change. We were fortunate to win the Super Bowl the way we did in a shootout. We were fortunate that teams weren't ready to play the explosives last year. They were this year, and look what happened. And we were chasing them. When you chase something, it usually escapes your grasp. It usually escapes your grasp. When you stop chasing it, it's usually when it comes. But no, man. Not disheartened. I thought this would happen. For the first time in the year, I picked us to lose because we just looked awful. And there was no difference. No matter of fact, it got worse from the Giants game because when you don't believe, people can see it. And the longer this thing got prolonged out, the more hopeless I saw this team get. So like I said, just put them out of their misery. But little assessment tomorrow of who we think will be back, how they overall played this year in a brief synopsis, and then will they be back or not? Because some guys are good, but they may not be back. And it was just painful watching Kelsey go out like that, like watching him cry on the sidelines, man. It's heartbreaking because they did not, for one simple reason, they did not give him the best shot. They did not give their best effort, put their best foot forward, and giving him another chance at the Super Bowl. And it's a shame. It's a fucking crying shame. They should be ashamed of themselves for this. And we're in danger of becoming the Cowboys East. More successful, more outwardly successful in spurts, but never really making the true change that we need to have sustained greatness. Because we've been pretty damn good. But going into this year with the personnel changes and the lack of resources and the priority on different philosophies, that ain't winning. That ain't prioritizing winning. It's a losing way of thinking. Do they know that? Do they know that? Yes. Will they admit to it? Hell no. Matt Patricia should never have been coaching in this game. You saw with undeniable evidence that Sean Desai, what he did, even though didn't get the results that we wanted, and he suffered 2 bad losses back to back. It was leagues better than what this formerly fat soul put out there. And yet you trudge for it because of your fucking pride. We can't go back because it'd be admitting making a mistake. Better than having an egg on your face. I'd rather be a regretful winner than a stubborn loser. Stupid. Anyways, man, let's get out of here. Anyway, win, lose, draw, forfeiture, I'm here. So, love talking about these guys, and I love making these videos even when it's hard to. Not hard to make them, but hard to when it's frustrating. Anyways, deuces. Fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.